Okay. All
Mhm.
right. Moving on to part three, the role of social media, diet culture, and diet culture in eating disorders.
Mhm.
So let's talk about the impacts of social media first, which we all know are there.
Oh yeah. I mean, I could get on my soapbox about this for hours.
Well, here you go.
My
Educate us.
platform,
This
finally.
is your platform. Please
Mhm.
use it.
Yeah, I mean, social media, there's so many positives to social media in the way that we can connect with one another and relate with one another. And one thing that I think needs to be emphasized more in our education system is how to have some media literacy, because there is so much content out there that is just cultivated. There are filters on everything. Everything is edited. And with social media, we're trying to put people into boxes. Like, you should look exactly this way, and if you don't look this way, well, here's a way for you to change yourself so that you can look this way.
Right.
Which is so hard, because then we're capitalizing off of people's insecurities. It's all about, how can these influencers make money to, help you change yourself to look exactly like them. When in reality, we are who we are. We might be able to like shed a pound here and there, but our genetics are our genetics. There's only so much that we can do and shift and change about ourselves. And so should we really be changing ourselves to fit into this mold, or should we be learning how to love ourselves no matter what the mold is, which is far easier said than done.
Yeah, but I do think that's really the point of life in general. Like,
Hmm.
the macro is really learning how to love yourself, learning how to trust yourself, learning how to live in your skin and be the best person that you can be. And, I remember I went away to college and like it was freshman year and my face broke out like just really bad acne, like cystic acne, just like awful. And I went on
Hmm.
Accutane and I had an allergic reaction. And I remember locking myself in the bathroom and crying hysterically and being like, oh my God, I don't even, because I didn't wear makeup a lot. I was just, so we're swimmers. So like, it's not like you
Hmm.
walk around
Right.
with like a lot of makeup. You're like always in and out of the pool and whatever. And I remember locking myself in the bathroom and basically crying and being like, I don't know where to start with the makeup. I don't know what to do. And it's like, and you go to college and you see like your contemporaries with their beautiful skin, and all I wanted
Hmm.
was to wake up in the morning and wash my face and just put on sunscreen and go. And I couldn't do that. And I really
Hmm.
like held my head down in shame and all the things. And one of the things, social media wasn't there at the time. And but there were enough skincare commercials like, oh, if you have bad skin, just like wash your face with Noxema or this face
Hmm.
wash and your face is going to look amazing. So I can't even imagine if you're struggling with an eating disorder and you're seeing this repeated messaging and you're just like angry because it's not true and it's in your face literally now all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it's like we're trying to say that there's a one size fits all approach to exactly what you need, but that's really not it. And so we're getting a lot of misinformation from non-reputable sources when we should be talking to doctors or registered dietitians, people who actually have degrees in this, rather than someone who read something one day on the internet who's now like trying to sell and promote that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I do relate to that. And like, for anyone listening to this who has been influenced by diet culture, or even just like expectations of society, that is so normal. Because if we think about it from like an evolutionary perspective, I always like talking about this with the teens that I work with. Like, think about
Hmm.
it from an evolutionary perspective. We are supposed to compare to one another, because in the caveman era, if we did not fit into an in group, we would die. Like, we would be ousted from the cave, we would be left out in the snow, and we wouldn't survive. So this is a survival tactic for us to compare with one another, make sure that we're doing enough to fit in with the in group. Because if we're in the
Yeah.
out group, that's dangerous for us. And so it's an innate thing for us to compare with one another. It's just, is this effective comparison or is it ineffective comparison? And it's a tough line to tread.
Well, and then that makes it even more difficult because we're conditioned and programmed
Mhm.
primally to like have these reactions and these thoughts and feel this level of insecurity when we do feel like we're ostracized for whatever reason it may be, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, so it's like, how do we combat that? It's like we're swimming upstream here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't yeah, very interesting.
Mhm.
Um Anything else you want to add to the social media or the diet culture and eating disorders? We definitely talked a little bit about both, but do you want to elaborate more on the diet culture and the eating disorders or anything else?
I mean, just diet culture in general. It's often not rooted in scientific fact. You know, before you try any new diet trend, definitely talk to a doctor, talk to a registered dietitian to see if it's something that would be appropriate for you. Because sometimes, folks do need to lose weight or shift their diet in order to promote their health.
Hmm.
And if we're doing it in really drastic ways, it might, have an adverse effect that we didn't intend. Often eating disorders start off with good intentions and it turns into something a lot more sinister than that. So, just trying to be, again, that media literacy, trying to parse apart that misinformation to find something that's actually, rooted in scientific fact.
Right? No,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. I mean, there's a lot of those, what do they call them? Having a total brain fart. Those detox things, those diet detoxes where you're
Oh
drinking
boy.
like those liquids and things like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't get
Or
me
the
started on
grapefruit
detoxes.
or the grapefruit diet. I guess what I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking yeah, where I'm going with this is, I think and again, this is all encompassing of every area of life is that it is human nature to want a quick fix to a problem that we know
Mm-hmm.
is going to take a lot longer for us to like get in there, unwrap it, figure out what's going on and then, fix it to the best we can. And I think our bodies and our mind, those are areas where we're trying to like make it work and do this thing. And
Mm-hmm.
there is no such thing as a quick fix for all of us who have tried
Yeah, you're
any kind of
so
quick
right.
fix, right?
There's no quick fix. If we're looking for that quick fix, it's not something that's going to be sustainable because
No.
it might feel nice to have that, like the sense that you're getting a quick fix in the moment. But if we're not creating like sustainable changes in our lives, like if we're engaging in appropriate exercise or having a balanced diet that includes all of the food groups, then we're just going to end up right back where we started. Because if we're eliminating things that bring us, joy or things that our body is craving, then we're just going to go right back to old patterns and habits. So long as we're finding balance, that's what it's all about. Finding
Yeah.
balance for you.
Yeah. I was actually just thinking about something going back to, the next section is eating disorders in athletes, which I'm very
Mm-hmm.
excited to talk with you about. For non-athletes, they're athletic people, but they might
Mm-hmm.
not consider themselves to be an athlete. Would you say that over exercising is a form of an eating disorder?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Absolutely.
you brought that up, kind of like something you said triggered that in my head. So I wanted to just bring that up really quickly
Yeah,
before we, yeah,
absolutely. So we view overexercising as a compensatory behavior. So what that means is that you are trying to compensate for food that you ate or trying to like earn food later on. And so it's just a not effective relationship with exercise. Like exercise needs to be rooted in like joy or promoting health. But if we're doing it just to earn our food, like that phrase, like you got to earn to burn, or
yeah.
like a calories in, calories out type of mentality, it takes away the joy from the movement. Then we have to question what are we actually doing here. So yes, we see that a lot is like compensatory movement. We can see that in bulimia nervosa. We can see that in anorexia nervosa. It's just a way to try to compensate for either food you haven't eaten yet or food that you've already have eaten.
Yeah, and it's as you know, after you do like a big set, swim set or something, and you've done triathlons too, so you probably get exposed to this as well. or definitely do, where people, you're sitting down after your long workout and people are like, oh, I deserve this, or I'm going to order this because I deserve this, or I burnt this
Mm-hmm.
many calories so I can afford to eat this. And you're like, you can eat it anyways, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting. That's a common thing that people say after like a hard workout.
Mm-hmm. It is so common, and I have to apologize to everyone who knows me and is friends with me. I am so annoying about this. Like
So what do you like, give a speech when people do that?
I do.
What's your speech?
They'll say, like, I deserve this. I say, actually, you always deserve food. You are always deserving of food. You are a human being who deserves food. And they're like, yeah, whatever, Lily. And so
Yeah.
it's like, okay, how do I balance, getting on my soapbox and being a therapist, and how do I balance being like a friend to someone who, like, people say this stuff
They just
all the
saying
time.
it. Yeah.
It just is. So it's
Right.
like, do I really die on this hill today? Maybe not. But there was one day, actually, like, because you and I swim together on occasion.
Yeah.
Like, we had just had a big set. Someone had cake in the locker room, and I said,
Okay.
yes, cake.
Yeah.
And
That's a treat.
some person just in passing said, oh, do you want to, I mean, you just worked out so hard, do you want to, lose all that progress? And I said, what do you mean? I'm replenishing my glycogen stores. Cake is the best refuel. So that I was, but I'm not changing anybody. What do I mean?
Well, you're definitely, I wouldn't say that. I would say you're educating a lot of people, and through that will inspire change. So it might not be direct, but you are changing people. So don't
Doing
say
my
that about
best.
yourself. Yeah. But yes, can we physically change people? No, but we can give them the tools and the
Mm-hmm.
knowledge like people gave me. So I think
Mm-hmm.
if you want to change, change is possible. But yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.